For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, we bring you in. It is the studios, the Palatial Studios here in Miami Gardens. I am Sean Stanley. This is the Squared Circle Digest, where we discuss pro wrestling. And you, of course, jump in on the chat. You can hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at Sean_Stanley11. Shoot email over to Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. You can hit me up on mine, Sean.Stanley1102. Hi, mate. Already in. Hello, Sean and wrestling fans from San Jose, California. It's pretty toasty over here, trying to stay cool. So am I here. We got a smart thermostat, and apparently it's smarter than us because right now it's playing games with us. So it cuts on and cuts off and cuts on and cuts off and cuts on and cuts off. But we'll figure it out. You know what, Steve? You're 100% Tim White. You're right. On Tuesday, I did not. I had sent it out the day before. But Dave Hebner and Tim White both lost within a week. Dave Hebner, Earl Hebner's brother, more probably famous for the two Hebners in the $1 Million Man Hulk Hogan feud that they had there. I watched TNA Slammiversary. Brian Hebner was refereeing his final match with TNA, or with Impact, I'm sorry. And Earl Hebner actually got involved in a match where Brian got knocked down. Earl Hebner came in, counted the 3 count. They all were in the ring holding up their hands, and then everybody, those two, pointed up to this guy, to Dave Hebner. And Tim White, I've heard nothing but fantastic stories. If you heard anything, and if you follow any of the WWE superstars, he did a lot of the signings, I guess. He accompanied a lot of the wrestlers, and nothing but good memories of him. As far as I know him more for when he used to, with Andre the Giant and everything else like that. And that's who kind of was Andre's one of his right-hand men. But man, it's it's tough now because the ones, the generation of wrestlers that I grew up on are, now starting to, fortunately though, knock on wood, a lot of them are living full lives. So that's one of the things there. So Steve, thank you on that for bringing that up. Great angle, by the way. Fresh idea. The two Dave Hebner. Yeah, no, it was different then, and I'm not sure anybody was aware of. I mean, inside the wrestling world, I'm sure they were aware of that, but at that point, I don't think anybody knew of the two brothers, of the twins, as far as that went. Greater good. Hello, my friend, and Jaime. By the way, how are you feeling? Sorry, I went to Steve's question real quick. I'm happy you're here, but how are you feeling? That's the draft is getting underway. See who the Magic go with here at number 1, so I'll keep you track of there. Some more investigations. Apparently, the fiduciary, I'm probably saying that wrong. Now there are, looks like to appear again, these are reports. So I'm using, it looks like 7 different law firms are now investigating the WWE handling of fiduciary responsibilities to investors in the buildup to and fallout from the bombshell report from the Wall Street Journal detailing an investigation by WWE's own board of directors into hush money payments made by Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon. The news has had a dramatic effect on WWE stock price, leading to the investigations on behalf of long-term WWE shareholders who feel the company's actions were not in the best interest of investors. One of the interesting things, and man, I don't have it right here. What was WWE producer? He's not on the board, so this might not go far. But can't find his name, so I'll look it up though. But let me try to shut this up. Man, this thing will not cooperate. All right. So what happened was he ended up selling some of his shares, and then now this happened. So they were wondering if there was some possible insider trade, but he is not part of the board. So it's interesting to see how, again, some of this other stuff plays out and into everything else. Because I'll tell you now, man, Vince McMahon doesn't give a damn. He's 76 and he's going to live his best life right now. And he's going to probably be on SmackDown this week. And I agree with I think it was Brian Gerwitz, who used to be a writer with WWE. They should have him come out now because of the two odd instances they already had. He should just come out and be like, tonight, 30% off on all belts on WWE.com. Drop the mic and leave. He should just come out and just do stupid stuff. At this point, what does it matter? I mean, he's giving the big FU to everybody as far as, the cases. He's showing you he doesn't care. The board, we'll see what happens. I don't think that the board does anything to him, but we'll see what happens. Jaime says, I'm recuperating nicely. Thank you for that, Sean. Definitely, Jaime. Dad, what's up? Let's see. Steve said, what's up, Papa Stanley? Wish you speedy recovery. Yeah, because, of course, man. AEW last night, they have a pay-per-view coming up this Sunday. If you probably aren't like a wrestling follower, you probably know nothing about it. That is my one gripe I will say about AEW is, to me, they cater to their internet wrestling, their hardcore fans. They're not going to grow. I'm not saying they'd grow exponentially anyways. With CM Punk signing, they were starting to grow a little bit, getting some casual wrestling fans in. When you start bringing in a lot of the people that were watching the wrestling show, no, these are great Japanese performers, but they don't know nothing about them. A lot of people don't follow New Japan or any of the, wrestling over there unless you're hardcore. So again, I feel like they've alienated some of their fans this way. And I think this is one of the things that AEW has to figure out. Because, yes, I believe they do a tremendous job catering to their fans. Better than WWE, of course. The problem is those fans are not enough to allow you to grow. And they've got to start growing. I mean, I get it. Year 3, WWE's in year 40 and all this stuff. I understand that. But at some point, you got to stop going backwards. And this week, they did go up a little bit. They went up some percentage points. But again, they've got to start, I think, figuring out a way to cater to the general wrestling fan. WWE did that. You know how they did that? By going after the kids. A lot of people didn't like it, but business-wise, it made the most sense and the most dollars. Because again, if you get a kid hooked on your product, that kid's going to want the parents to take them. You show up to the building. The first thing you do when you walk in there is the big WWE stand with all the toys, all the shirts, everything else. Before you even get to the seats, you've already spent $300. So we'll see on what they do, but I think they need to start trying. And I'm not saying that they don't. I'm from me looking in right now is they are catering to their hardcore wrestling fans, the internet wrestling fans. Not a bad thing, but other people don't know New Japan Pro Wrestling. They don't know those guys. I kind of like what Impact is doing more now with going with MLW. And we'll get into that a little bit more here in a minute. But the MLW guys, at least and the Impact guys, here in, the Good Brothers. Those guys like that, Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, Heath Slater, Rhino. I'm saying? Like, at least they're names that Morrissey, guys you've seen. That can kind of help them make, and we've discussed it many times here. I'm not saying you got to change and get rid of all of your young talent and then bring in and make it, but those matches are not what the regular casual wrestling fan can be attentive to. Those are your, when you watch, I'm trying to think of the right wording here because I want to be careful what I say. When you watch AEW, sometimes you're watching a movie and you're like, holy shit. And before you can really put everything together, they've already done 4 more moves. They don't let everything sit and breathe, let you take it in. It's drop somebody on their head, pick them up. And again, and I know people are going to say that's the old school mentality, but at times you have to let that sit. You can't get thrown through 13 tables, get back up, super kick somebody, and then both of you fall down. That makes no damn sense to me. You're not a freaking superhero. Impact Wrestling the other night. You had Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green during the match. Boom. From the ladder through the tables, done. They were out of the match the rest of the night. The match went another 10 minutes. They were not a factor in the match anymore after that. That makes sense. They took a bump from the top of the ladder, inside the ring, outside the ring, and through 2 tables. At some point, you have to let casual wrestling fans need to understand what's going on. If I can't understand your 30-second match, flipping and flopping and 360s and everything else, shit I could never do. Athletic as hell, but you have to make stuff make sense. You have to let stuff register so that a fan can sit here and invest in what you're doing. It's not ballet. It's not dance. You have to let them register that, oh shit, that was supposed to hurt. Sometimes, man, it's frustrating because I feel like I'm that old guy when I say that, like the old get off my lawn guy. Because I know wrestling has changed, but I still think the art of wrestling is the same. The entertainment of wrestling is still the same. It has to have some blend or a gray line of realism. That's what works. The gimmicky stuff worked in the 80s. You could have Doink the Clowns and, you had your goalie, you had your wrestling dentist. You had Skinner who wrestled alligators. You had all those guys, Typhoon, Earthquake. That was when it was gimmicky. Now, it's more investing in the talent. And at times, I believe AEW has more investment in some of their talent, and they don't use them properly. Like, I'm very interested to see what they do with Christian and Jungle Boy. I am very interested to see how this will play out. I hope they let Christian kind of have the reins on this one, and let's see how it goes, because I think Jungle Boy can be a main eventer. I really do. He's got the look. He can add size on as he goes, and he can work. He's already got that. All he needs to do is add a little bit of size onto him, and he'll be fine. Let's see here. Frankie Fresco, what's going on? Ain't this the second time Money in the Bank is in Vegas? You know what, Heathens? I'm not 100% sure. I know they've moved venues, by the way. They had to move from the Alliance Stadium over to where they're at now, a smaller stadium, because of ticket sales, or yeah, however, whatever they want to say. Let's see. I can only imagine what the front row seats cost at these events we see on TV. Close to $1,000, I bet. Sometimes they have them set up for, if, like, for instance, they come to the Heat, right? They're at the FTX Arena. They'll save them for Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo. They'll have seat fillers there. And then do the rest. They set it up to where they make sure they get, but yeah, they can get some good money for those seats. Jaime says, Sean, very true. Most profitable companies market kids, families first, as that opens their market instead of reducing it. Yeah. And honestly, I think that's one of the things that AEW doesn't do enough of. I think they cater to their heart. They almost remind me of what ECW did. And again, that's not bad. I mean, you got your depth of fans, but you don't grow from there because not everybody wants to see the gore or the blood or the profanity. You can't bring your kid to a show because you pay $50. You can only watch 2 or 3 shows and you have to go because, somebody's coming out cursing on the mic or there's blood flying out and somebody's, they're just, you have to, make shows more family friendly in a way to make that happen. Let's see. Greater good. Yes, please hit the like button for me. I appreciate it. You all. Frank Fresco says only Sting can throw through 10 tables and get back up. Yeah. But then you hit him one time with a chair on the leg and his ankle shatters like that. Now he's out for some times. Seeing a guy knock silly and wonky on his feet, then slowly making a comeback is dramatic. Yeah, no, I mean, you gotta be able to sell it, man. I always, when I look at Bret Hart was great at selling. Stone Cold, I don't know if you've ever, if you do, I mean, again, I don't know how many are WWE fans and how many aren't, but if you ever have a chance, go back and listen to Stone Cold when he interviews Bret Hart. And they talk about the match when he locks in the sharpshooter and it's the double turn match. And Stone Cold's trying to, fight because that's now he's trying to be that baby face. And he could hear the fans getting behind him. And he was like, okay, now we got him. So he slowed it down a little bit. He went down. Then he did it one more time to make sure. And they knew. He's like, we knew he had the crowd hooked. That's when he went out. They knew they had the crowd. They had the double turn. They had done what they wanted to with that match. And believe it or not, they didn't necessarily think that was their best match. Now, that was kind of interesting to hear when they talked to Mocha Leao. Aloha, my friend. Also, this afternoon, Ric Flair, they had a press conference for him about his last match coming up. Let me get to that real quick. This is from Fightful. Let's see. Doesn't a family-friendly product make the show bland for real wrestling fans? No, you can still make, a match or two directed at, you can still have some, look at what WCW and those guys did, not with the NWO, but when you still had blood at matches. But again, you made it make sense. It was, Dusty gets hit with the belt and it's at the end of the match and it's boom. It's not, 45 minutes of blood going all over the crowd and everything. But I think you can have a family-friendly product and still cater to real wrestling fans. Now, hardcore deathmatch stuff, probably not. You know what I'm saying? But I think you could cater to real wrestling fans. Yes, I think you can have. I mean, look, Adam Cole against Bryan Danielson. Let them go for 25 minutes. Those guys can handle that. You don't have to have 52 matches in 2 hours. Let some of those guys show you what they can do. And then, AEW at the beginning, I was yelling at him like, what the hell are you doing with Cody and Darby? And Cody and what was it? It was Y2J or Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy. I was like, what the hell are you doing with these guys? You're wasting Cody, you're wasting Jericho. No, they built up those two guys to where, to me, they could be a lot more than what they are right now. You're telling me Orange Cassidy can't be catered toward the kids? You're telling me Darby Allin, again, maybe not the dark side of the Darby Allin character. You're telling me that can't be catered toward kids? I mean, yeah, you can't have, a barbed wire match or an exploding barbed wire match or any of that stuff, but you can still cater to wrestling fans without having to bleed. Without having to, have, scantily clad women, dressed women everywhere. You don't have to have all that. It's been done before. I mean, before Terry Runnels went to WWE to be, Marlena, she was Alexandra York and managed Terrence Taylor, Michael Rotunda, Richard Steiner, and that what were they called? The York Street or something. They were all like business guys, and it was kind of right after Rotunda left WWE as IRS. So again, I think you can do a family-friendly product and still have. Yeah, I mean, the Hell in a Cell match with Seth and Cody was pretty dark, but at the same time, it wasn't over the top. To me, it wasn't over the top. They laid out the story, right? It was Cody's pec, the tear, and that's what he targeted the whole time. Was it brutal? Yes. Was it hard hitting? Yes. Was it not family friendly? I don't think so. I think that match was fine. They didn't do anything not family friendly. But what do you mean was heat fins? What was dark after the Raw? Him attacking Cody afterwards? And I'm sorry, I'm working with heat fins here right now on this question, just because, you can still have it dark and maybe not dark to a craziness point and still be, again, family friendly. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's got to be coming out there and holding hands and singing Kumbaya. It's still a wrestling show. It's still, parents have to figure out, okay, what do I want my child to watch? I mean, I can put the product up there. It's up to parents too. I mean, it's the same thing with all these other shows. There's some parents that won't let kids watch, whatever, some of the criminal shows that are on TV until they're a certain age. Are those dark? Yeah, but the cheap shot Edge getting turned on, that's real life, man. You think that doesn't happen in everyday life? You think somebody's not going to want to get a higher position and undercut somebody else. Yeah, they might not bash him in the head with a chair like they do in wrestling, but the same stuff happens. It's just being played out in a wrestling ring on TV. To me, when you're telling your stories in the wrestling ring, I don't think that WWE gets, sometimes I don't think they get dark enough. If you want to use dark enough. I mean, I don't think they get edgy enough. I don't think dark is the right word. I think on some of the stuff, they don't get edgy enough. Again, you have to cater to all your audience, right? Us as older wrestling fans, we like more of the old style wrestling and things like that. You have, your teenagers that kind of grew up and now they're in the 20s, maybe 30s that were, through what I guess the ruthless aggression era. You know what I'm saying? So you have to me, to have a good show, you hit you check all the boxes. You got something for the kids. Bam. Rey Mysterio, right? You've got, talent that caters to kids. Then you have stuff like the Edge stuff that caters more to probably me and some of the others where it's more of a, deep storytelling that you really have to kind of follow along and watch it build. With kids have real quick attention spans. So what you do is you throw the Rey Mysterio in there, watch him do a kick, bam, put on the mask, right? Boom, now everybody's like, I want that mask. You cater to those young kids. It's the Rey Mysterios. It's, at the time, Lince Dorado, when they had those guys there, those were all catering toward the kids. And then you go up a little bit more and you've got New Day, who's a little bit more edgier with the comedy and the things like that. And then you've got Sheamus. And you've got a little bit of everything for everybody. That's kind of, I get the menu is there in WWE to where there's something there for everybody. Do they use it properly? No, they serve dessert, for breakfast, and they're serving breakfast at midnight, and it's a mess with the way it's all scrambled around and presented at times. But to me, I think AEW needs to figure out what that menu is that caters to everybody, that hits everybody. And I don't think they have that one that really, and help me out. And on the chat, please help me out. If you think of a talent besides maybe Jungle Boy, who would be the AEW talent that caters to the young audience? To the younger audience, like Rey Mysterio, you see all the little kids wearing the masks. Who would be that guy right now? Maybe El Fuego? Maybe, but he's on the dark elevation. I'm thinking of the main roster right now that you see week in and week out on AEW. Who would be that talent that targets the youngest demographic? And again, I'm not saying that it's the most, the demographic you have to have, by the way. But I think that's the one where if you can get that, then it builds up the other demographics for you because your families are built in. Let's see. Let me go through some questions. We all started watching as teenagers and kept watching. Yeah, you need to attract teenage viewers. Yeah, but also if you can get them younger and you build them up, it's it sure as hell isn't. Finn's Tailgate, what's up, buddy? Thank you for swinging by and hitting the like button. Let's see. It's the best show on TV, 30 years strong. Yes, 100% Cap for life. Even Riddle with the bro gimmick. Yeah. I mean, they've worked that gimmick to where, the RK Bro, again, man, remember this whole thing was set up to not be a Keith Lee. Yeah, I can't say no. Can't say no. I just don't. You got to market him a little bit differently if you're going to cater him to the younger audience, Frankie. The way they have him booked right now with Swerve, and again, I know him and Swerve are doing the thing now because they eliminate each other in the Battle Royal or whatever they did. But yeah, I mean, I think when he was the Bearcat, Keith Lee, I like that one. If you could do that with him again and sell, the bears of Keith Lee and things like that. Let's see. Bryan Danielson. Yeah, he's done himself a little bit more edgier. Heat fins. I think that's why a lot of these guys are leaving WWE, though. They want to go, and AEW gives them a little bit more creative control. So he's taking that character now a little bit edgier, but he's still doing Bryan Danielson. But he's not doing the yes thing because he had told WWE that he would not use it. And he used the arms once at the beginning when he debuted, and he has not used it since. C7 Chapman said, I enjoyed the Edge double cross. Never saw it coming. So much rest. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what the supposed reports behind there, and again from Fightful and some other outlets, are saying they want to do a paranormal type gimmick with now I'm forgetting the name, Judgment Day, with the group Judgment Day. They want to do more of a paranormal thing, and Edge was like, I don't want anything to do with that. And you get what you get. So now he's out of the group. Back to the Ric Flair thing. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. So the press conference was today at 1:00. I'm going to go through some of the notes that were taken by Sean Ross Sapp at Fightful. The Ric Flair's match is planned, and as of now, Ricky Steamboat is not involved as originally hoped. Told the working plan is going to be a tag team match. There are names in mind, but so far they haven't given word or anything. Fightful had reported earlier that Steamboat was being courted for the match. The working plan was for Steamboat and the Rock and Roll Express to team up to take on FTR and Ric Flair. However, there were several hurdles in the way. Reportedly, Steamboat's asking price was extremely high, from what we understand. Though he had interest in doing the match, those we spoke to said Steamboat did meet and discuss the possibility of the match and was open to competing, but terms could not be met. And FTR had yet to gain clearance for the match from AEW founder Tony Khan. Starcast, which is where they're going to, has been planned as far back as last year's All Out. They filmed promotional material then. The original plans called for it to be in Chicago before pivoting to Nashville. Chicago will experience a Top Guy weekend for Conrad Thompson's ad-free shows brand. And then also now Jacob Fatu of MLW versus Josh Alexander of Impact is also set. They reached out to Court Bauer, who stated the summer of surprises continue. The fans have asked for MLW versus Impact, and now it goes down. A historic inter-promotional title fight for a memorable night in Nashville. So that match has been added to the Ric Flair last match, and then I know they're going to show it on Fight TV as well. So some new things happening. Still no in stone opponent yet for it, but more than likely it's going to be a tag team or a triple threat. And I saw something today, and I haven't been able to look it up, but apparently there's something going on between Jay Lethal, it looks like, and Ric Flair. There's still respect there, but they're not seeing eye to eye right now. Find it kind of odd because those were the two, maybe three, those were the two training together. Now all of a sudden not seeing eye to eye, wondering maybe Lethal wanted to be that match. Let's see what else we got here. Danhausen, Thunder Rosa. You know what? Danhausen, very good. Yes, I can go with that. Thunder Rosa. Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. Yeah. No, those are two good ones, actually, Frankie. Thank you. Forgot about Danhausen. Yeah, you can make Danhausen. Definitely. Definitely. And Hook is starting to become that guy. He's that teenager guy, right? He just comes, he kicks ass and then leaves, kind of the way they've kind of, had him working now. It's gonna be interesting to see when he rolls up to the dynamite a little bit more and starts working with some of the other guys. Because right now he's just rolling through guys. He's overpowering them, he's out wrestling them, and we'll see where he goes. But yeah, no, he does have that Dragon Ball Z look. 100% agree, Frankie. Let's see. Heatfin says, I know it's old news, but was that CM Punk promo back in 11 off script? Because he was kind of right this whole time. I think, and then I've listened to some people say, I think he spoke from the heart. I think he just stated how he was feeling. And I've come to find out that in WWE, a lot of times, if Vince trusts in you, for instance, during the invasion angle with ECW, Paul Heyman has a thing on with, I think it's Ryan Satin, where he goes into detail where he was it was another interview. He was overseas. I'm sorry. He was in the UK when he did this. He said, Vince, do you know what you want me to say? He said, just go out there and make me money, Paul. Just make me money. He said, are you going to talk back to me? He said, no, just go out there and make me money. And then that's when Paul Heyman cut the whole interview about, his dad and everything else and pro wrestling and superstars and sports entertainers. And he did all that. And then and again, it goes back to, I think a lot of the great promos and stuff is when you hit it for real. I mean, when you hit on things that, again, what he did there was things where you're like, wait, I've heard about that. So now is he pulling the curtain back? I know I'm not supposed to know about this, but he's talking about it. Boom, they cut his mic. My whole thing is this. And this is where I'll kind of, hate fins, you can, they could have cut his mic before that when he was saying many, many things about Vince McMahon, Stephanie, Triple H. Never happened, right? To a certain point. And then it was cut. Trust me, if they want the mic cut, the mic will get cut. That's all I will say there. I think he got a lot of real stuff out. And I think Vince McMahon said, this is going to be money. And they went with it. Because again, Vince McMahon is about money. If you can make him money, you can pretty much do and say whatever you want. Obviously, look at where WWE is today. Looks to me like they're setting up a heel turn for Randy Orton. Riddle is so over the top with his love for Randy. Seems logical next step would be for Randy to crush him. Thoughts? Steve, the problem is Randy Orton's going under the knife for back surgery. And he won't be back till around spring, I think they said, or close to summer of 2023, depending on how good it goes, how well it goes. The only thing that's got me is with Riddle's how do I say it? With Riddle's delivery, it almost comes across creepy, right? It's like, I love you, Randy. We miss you, Randy. We love you, Randy. I'm going to do this for you, Randy. And the way it's drawn out, it almost feels creepy to me, man. I almost feel like Randy Orton would come out and RKO him just to end it. But I think ultimately, yes, I think you're going to see it is over the top. It's in excess. It's a lot of different things. I think ultimately you're going to see Orton and Riddle. There will be something there as long as Orton is healthy enough to return, which, again, with everything that I've heard, that is more likely to be the end game. Let's see. Can you compare who Ospreay and Jay White are equivalent to in AEW for those who don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, I guess Jay White would be the guy that's there with him, right? I mean, Adam Cole. Both those guys are so goddamn tremendous and so gifted and so damn good, man. Man, I'm trying to think Will Ospreay, what they would equivalent would be. And because Jay White took over the Bullet Club from who just recently, right? Tama Tonga. I think they were doing something new with the Bullet Club there. Kind of lost track of who was in the lead there, but I know Jay White came back. Man, Ospreay. Oof. Because he had that time where they had him, he was on that streak, and then he ended up coming back, and once the pandemic ended, now he's they're back to pushing him very well. Jay White, I'll go with Adam Cole. And Ospreay, man, he's such a high flyer. I want to say like a Brian Danielson in a way, but he's such a high flyer. Man, I don't even know who I can compare Ospreay or, I mean, White to Adam Cole. I'm only doing that because they're both leaders of the Bullet Club. I don't know that anybody really with their talent. I mean, there's somebody there, but nobody I think that you can just say Ospreay is this guy, Jay White is this guy, because I think they have so much, talent with Ospreay. He can work and he can fly, and I mean, if you watch any of the matches, he's very good, and he's good on the mic too. Jay White, of course, is great on the mic. You've watched him, and he's one of the top draws. They're both top draws overseas. That's why they're over there. They probably make more money in Japan than they would make signing over here. Yeah, I really don't know. And again, that's just kind of throwing them out. Let's see here. But what if Riddle turned on? Yeah. Frankie Fresco, man, there's 375 different stories about Sasha Banks in the release, man. I think some of it was just thrown out there to, again, push the Vince McMahon story down, because here's the thing with the Vince McMahon story. In wrestling news, it's kind of fiddling away. It's if the mainstream media picks up that story. If the mainstream media picks up that story, it's never going away, because all Vince will start doing is throwing things out. Brock Lesnar returns. Roman Reigns brought back. John Cena on Raw next week. And it's just going to start bringing everybody back. You'll see Charlotte return. You'll see all this stuff go to where all the news piling up and Vince McMahon's going further and further down. So he'll control the news cycle. Hook is getting really good build. AEW has done great by him and Wardlow's build. Yeah, 100%. I cannot disagree with that, Giovanni. Again, one of the things that AEW does very well is they do build up their talent good. I mean, like I said, I thought when I saw Darby Allin and I saw, Orange Cassidy, I was like, there's no way. There's no way they're going to be able to have people buy in and invest in these two guys. They did it. They put Darby Allin with Cody, and you're instantly like, okay, this kid's got something. And with Hook, he can, he's a hooker. I mean, that's the way he is. Taz has trained him. He can lock you in different moves. He's very good, and you probably don't want to mess with him. And Wardlow, man, is money, dude. I don't know. The only thing I don't know with AEW, what they're going to do with Wardlow, is how do you keep him out of the main event picture? Or what keeps him out of the main event picture so that he doesn't become the champion sooner than what you want. You know what I'm saying? You have to find different angles to have him go, because you've already had him go through Lance Archer. You've had him go through Morrissey. You've had him go through all the bigger guys in AEW to build up where he's at now. You don't want to have him, what's next? It's one of the things, I think they built him up tremendously. I just don't know how you don't get him to the top of the mountain sooner and keep him on that trajectory without halting something. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. Let's see. Did that one already. Let's see. Steve Mongo. Yep. How would Conor McGregor do in WWE? The money they can make. You know something? I mean, Conor's a good talker, but he's going to have to be able to work a little bit too. You know, I mean, WWE has been very lucky, and I get it. They probably work these guys out in the ring so they can kind of see what they have. I mean, they brought in, you know, Tyson Fury, who's done very well for him, and he's actually going to be on the Clash at the Castle when they do that pay-per-view over there. Tyson Fury's going to be on that. It looks like he's probably, it says Drew McIntyre against Roman Reigns. He said he's going to confront Drew McIntyre. So I'm wondering if he's going to get involved in the Drew Roman Reigns thing there. Conor McGregor talking, gold in WWE. Gold. The thing is, at some point, he's going to have to back it up. And legitimately, he probably could back it up. But in a WWE ring, you know, again, who do you put him with? Who do you know, because again, you want to build, if you bring him in, do you shoot him straight to the top? Because in WWE, that's what they do. They bring him in and they shoot him straight up to the top. Think about what AEW has done with American Top Team. Dan Lambert. They shoot them guys to the top. They could have had Masvidal. They had some of those guys, Santos and some of those other guys there as well. You know, so I think ultimately they can make money with them. Definitely. That's not even a question. It's just, is it a one-off? Do you bring him in like you did Ronda Rousey? Because then he's going to have to do a little bit more than just, you know, run his mouth, hit and miss, get out, and come back. You know what I'm saying? Like if they bring him in and out, probably make some more money on that and hit and miss on certain things there. Let's see. Keith Lee or maybe Group. What did I miss here? Steve Chapman says he's too small. It'd be tough sell for him to beat some of the bigger guys. Hold on. I missed something. Joe LeDuc used to scare me. He used to scare me. What's the name of the other Uso brother that's in NXT? Can't remember his name. Solo Sakai. He's actually, I think, a cousin there. Riddle was a punching bag on Monday night. Yeah, but they were doing the sell of the ribs from Roman Reigns, spearing him. So, you know, I think a full healthy, you know, Riddle might been better off. I don't know that Omos is a good selection to be in the Money in the Bank briefcase match. I don't know, man. I feel like you just kind of threw that opportunity away there to be, you know, something else. We'll see where they go with it, but he's too small. It'd be a tough sell. Steve, who are you talking about when you say he's too small? It'd be a tough sell for him to beat some of the bigger guys. Armando Frankie Fresco says The Miz. They had success with Bad Bunny. Yeah, they did, but they also teamed them up, you know, with guys that, you know, weren't going to let them fail. Miz and Morrison and Damian Priest. You know, I mean, again, that it goes back to the whole thing. Oh, okay, Miz versus Conor. Okay. You know what? That's probably not a bad one because the Miz can carry him in that opportunity. Because if you look at it now, when celebrities come in, who do they usually pair them with? It's the Miz. The Miz has earned that trust and that respect from Vince McMahon to where he knows if you bring in the celebrities, we can pair him with the Miz, whether he teams with them, takes them on, however you want to do, because he can figure it out and be like, okay, this guy's lost right now. Let's slow it down, tag out. You know, he can, you know, keep the tempo of the match, which is why I think also when you see a lot of these guys, which to me was interesting with Pat McAfee as well in NXT, that they put him in a singles match first against Adam Cole. The only thing I can imagine is that they had already ran through that match so many times and was like, okay, we're good. But usually you'll get a tag team match first, and then hence Ronda Rousey, Kurt Angle, Triple H, Stephanie. Okay, Ronda seems good. Okay, then let's start moving her on to some of the other things. Yeah, Sami Zayn would be a good one as well. Who is my all-time favorite wrestler? All-time favorite wrestler is going to have to be the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, but I like Triple H. I like Chris Benoit, the wrestler. I also was a big fan of Brad Armstrong. If you know who he is there. But those are some of the guys that, and then D'Lo. I love D'Lo. I liked his mannerisms in the ring, and plus I stole some of his moves. So I loved everything he did. Actually, one of them is right there. Where's that? Right there. There. Undertaker with who? Undertaker with Conor McGregor? You trying to get Conor McGregor killed? I'm a thief, man. Gimmick infringement right here, buddy. Nah, no gimmick infringement. But I love that move, man. I was fortunate enough to actually be in a 6-man with D'Lo at one point. That was a great time. See what we got going here before we sign off for the night. Make sure no new news broke. Doesn't look like anything new has come across since the last ratings. No Undertaker is your favorite? No, because, I mean, I really didn't like The Undertaker until he really became American Badass. The character. Now, I liked his moves, the old school and, Snake Eyes and everything else like that. But I thought once he became, the American Badass, then he became more relatable. Because as The Undertaker, it was just kind of like this dead guy walking around, right? Nothing really to get into that to invest in at the time. It just was just this guy, pasty white guy at the time, and just, wasn't nothing there. Who will Brian bring? You know what, Frank? I don't know, man. I don't know. I've heard Cesaro's name thrown out there. I've heard a couple of the Japanese stars named. I really don't know who it's going to be. But the thing with AEW is I don't know that's going to be like a big home run guy. Again, they like to cater toward their audience. So I don't think it'll be Cesaro for that reason. I think Cesaro brings in that WWE mainstream appeal. And apparently everything I've read has been that he pretty much really would rather, if he's going to go back, he's going back to WWE. But again, people say that all the time, and then they'll end up showing up because they'll give them, here's a suitcase of money for one night. Okay, we'll be there. Daryl Ray. Are you talking about your favorite wrestlers or The Undertaker, John Cena, Triple H? Make Big O a fat vegan burger. Man, that just shouldn't go together. Fat vegan burger. Armando. I've already scarfed down my burger, but I did eat fresh. So Daryl Ray's got, let's see, Undertaker, John Cena, Triple H, The Rock. All right. Not bad. I would even throw out some other, like Scott McGee. I used to like Scott McGee when I was growing up. But these are guys in Miami and, that South Championship Wrestling from Florida that chat with you later. Jaime, thank you, my friend. Yeah, we're going to be wrapping up here in a couple minutes as well. But Scott McGee, they had guys in Championship Wrestling from Florida, Sweet Brown Sugar, of course, Barry Windham, Mike Rotundo, Bob Roop. There were so many guys when I was growing up that just Man, even the one-man gang when he was down there, you had Sir Oliver Humperdinck, Kevin Sullivan, Purple Haze, all those guys that scared the crap out of you. They even traveled around in a freaking Winnebago. Kevin Sullivan and that whole group, they traveled like it was like a cult. They even traveled in a damn Winnebago. They pulled up to Sunrise Musical Theater. Dude. Another one of my dreams come true when I got to work Kevin Sullivan. I was at a Comic-Con here in Miami. I was dressed as Sandman from Spider-Man, but I got in the ring and I got to work Kevin Sullivan. Fantastic. I don't think we were in the ring for more than 13 seconds. We attacked outside the ring. We fought everywhere. We fought out the building. We fought in the building. We hit each other with garbage cans. Finally got in the ring and it was over. It was a fantastic thing. Yes, the Prince of Darkness. Loved him. And even more after I got to meet him. Jaime says, I love burgers. Daryl Ray said, you wrestled before? I did. I wrestled from 1999 to 2014 here in Florida. I was with FOW, ICW, CCW, the FWA, some other ones. Should have been Sandman from ECW. Hey, I worked him as well, too. I got a moonsault ladder placed on me, and he did his moonsault after drinking half a case of beer. Yes. There's you can look up Sean Allen on YouTube, and then also there's some in the Future of Wrestling. There's I don't know if they're still on YouTube. There was Future of Wrestling. We used to do recordings that would air was it Saturday or Sunday at 9 a.m. They would buy an hour to promote the shows coming up and things like that. So we would record. It was actually at a Gold's Gym in Plantation. They had a back area that was empty, and they allowed them to put the wrestling ring in there. And at the time, I think they were running the school out of there as well. But then we ended up running shows and doing tapings there, which ended up being pretty good. It reminded you of Championship Wrestling in Florida, but it wasn't dark. They had the lights there. It wasn't all dark and just over the wrestling ring. There was lights everywhere. Let's see. Alex, love the pod. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all the love and the support. Let's see. Daryl Ray said, have E. Have E. Not sure where we're going with that one. And then at one point I wrestled as the Blackheart as well. Yes, we back on Tuesday morning. I once saw wrestling in the flea market in Opelika, Hialeah. I don't think I wrestled at a flea market in Naranja. It was one of the scariest nights of my life. I went to WrestleMania when it was here. What was it, 26, 27, The Rock and Cena. Triple H and Undertaker and Hell in a Cell. I was at that WrestleMania there. Frankie, what was that? Was that what'd you go see there? Do you remember the Federation and who wrestled? Not sure how long ago it was. The Lumbee Warrior. That name sounds familiar. The Lumbee Warrior. I think he wrestled for Florida Championship Wrestling, right? Is he older, Armando? Or is this a newer somebody doing the Lumbee Warrior now? Is he an older wrestler? The Rock's dad was there. Yeah, Rocky Johnson. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, he was at quite a few of those shows. He actually wrestled the mayor of Davie and the Rock, young Rock at the time, before everything blowing up. Came in, went upstairs, watched the match, and left as soon as his dad was done. It was pretty cool that he flew in for that time or whatever he was doing that day, showed up, did that, and left. So it was good stuff, man. It was good. He was good guy. The Rock's dad was. So we got a couple more minutes here. If you got any more questions, we'll get them in. If not, Of course, every Tuesday, every Thursday, right here, 8 o'clock. Older underground wrestler. Okay. Yeah, no, I think I've seen him work before. I don't know if I was on a card with him or not. I'm trying to remember if because I think he was with Florida Championship Wrestling. I think I went to it when I was in the military. I came down. Did he wrestle like 90s area frame? Will Rome be leaving for Hollywood soon? I believe Roman will end up leaving for Hollywood, but I also think that the problem he has right now is The Rock's there. That's the only question. Don Flamenco. You had the Wahoo McDaniel slap. Okay. Yeah, no Wahoo. I'm glad I never got in the ring with that dude. I think he will leave. I won't say soon for Hollywood. I think the problem he's got is The Rock is there right now. The Rock's in Hollywood. I get it. He's a long-haired Samoan, but The Rock is still, the Samoan action star right now. I almost called him an action figure. So I think, again, does he go and he becomes, The Rock, and like Kevin Hart was to The Rock in all his movies that he does, and all of a sudden he's got a role there? I don't know that he wants to. I mean, again, he signed a very cushy deal with WWE right now. He's on the Brock Lesnar deal, basically. He's wrestling the big stadium matches, the big stadium pay-per-views, and a few SmackDowns and no live shows unless he wants to. So I don't know that he leaves WWE right now because he's got everything that he wants and he's making the money, and right now the wrestling world is his. He's got the wrestling world sitting right there in the palm of his hand. He is the WWE right now. He is pro wrestling right now. The bloodline and that right there right now, to me, is probably the best thing going right now in wrestling. I'm sure somebody can prove me otherwise, but to me, watching it and watching everything and how it goes and different levels it goes to, and then it can go down a little bit and then they bring it right back up that much quicker, shows where he's at. All right, guys. Again, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 8 o'clock right here, Big O Radio Show YouTube channel. It is the Squared Circle Digest. We just sit here, talk, and bullshit pro wrestling all night long if you want. But since we talked a little bit of championship wrestling from Florida, a little Joe LeDuc, a little Scott McGee, Sweet Brown Sugar, everybody knows how I end this. Steve, good night. Frankie, good night. Ron, appreciate you, my friend. Armando, peace out. Josh, appreciate you. Daryl. Let's see else we got. Alex, Ron, I think I said hi. Thank you already. Daryl, Jaime. We've got Heat Fins, of course. Thank you, my man. Frankie Fresco. As always, Steve Chapman. Jaime Zorillo. Appreciate you guys. The greater good. Cap for Life. Giovanni Perez. Finn's Tailgate. Everybody else that was in on the chat tonight, man. Appreciate, love all the support. Thank you, guys. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Don't forget to tell people about the podcast. It'll be up on all aspects of podcasting formats. And don't forget, Miami Heat will be picking soon, I think. But in the words of the greatest commentator that I love, the great Gordon Soley, so long from the Sunshine State.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CS, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in